Welcome back to our channel SQL Tutorial Bikacho by Bikacho Groups. So, are you gearing up for a challenging SQL interview with some of the top tier multinational companies like HCL, PwC, Wipro, EY, and KPMG in 2025? Then look no further because in this video we have got you covered with the top 100 SQL interview questions designed to take you from the basics to advanced concepts. So whether you are a beginner exploring the world of SQL or an experienced professional brushing up on your skills, this video is tailored to meet your needs. We will cover everything from foundational queries to advanced optimization techniques to help you stand out and land your dream job. So make sure to stick around because we are not just sharing questions, we will also explain the thought process behind each answer, tips for tackling tricky scenarios, and how to impress your interviewer. So, if you are serious about cracking SQL interviews and stepping into exciting roles at leading MNCs in 2025, then hit the play button and let's dive in. Now, move on with the first question of today's video. So, what is SQL? So SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It is a standard programming language for managing and manipulating relational databases. Okay, so you need to give the answer to the point to the interviewer because they don't want to know how much you know. They want to know the exact thing. So like that, you need to provide the exact answer. Now question number two. So what are the different types of SQL commands? So there are five major types of SQL commands, which are DDL, data definition language, which contains create, drop, truncate commands. And then second number is the DML, data manipulation language, which contains the insert, update, and delete commands. Then we have the DCL, data control language, which have the grant and revoke commands. Then we have the TCL, transaction control language, which have the two commands, which are commit and rollback. And the fifth one is the DQL, data query language. For that, you can provide the example as select. Okay, so example is also needed. If you are mentioning the commands, then example like which commands they contain, that you can also provide for example. Okay, now third number. So third, what we have, what is a primary key? So basically for primary key, the simple answer is like a primary key is a unique identifier for a record in a table, ensuring that no two rows have the same key. So basically primary keys are unique and provide unique identifier to the records in the table. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next, what we have, what is a foreign key? Okay, so basically these are the basic SQL questions for experience around means fresher to 3 years of experience. Generally these questions are asked, so you can go through the questions accordingly according to your experience level. And also means from the expert level questions, these can be asked from the means beginner level students also, because they need to check means how much in depth you know. Okay, so giving the answer will be varying from experience level to experience level. So now the fourth question, what is the foreign key? So a foreign key is a field or a collection of fields in one table that uniquely identifies a row in another table, establishing a relationship between the two. Okay, so basically the foreign key is establishing a relationship between two tables. Okay, now fifth one, what we have, what is a unique key? Okay, so for a unique key ensures that all values in a column are different from one another, allowing null values. So single null value is allowed by the unique key. Okay, now sixth question, what is a join? So explain different types of joins. So for the answer for this will be, a join is used to combine rows from two or more tables based on a related column. Okay, and then the types of joins are inner join, left join, right join, full outer join, or cross join. These five joins you can mention to the interviewer. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next, what we have, and one thing to note here, that if any of the question you don't understand, then you can let us know in the comment section. We will explain it to you separately also, or we can create a elaborated video on that particular topic itself. Okay, now the seventh question. So what is the seventh question? What is a subquery? So a subquery is a SQL nested inside another query. Okay, so a subquery is a query nested inside another query, used to perform operations that depends on the result set of the outer query, or you can say the main query. Okay, so the main query is the outer query, and inside that one nested sub query is available. So that is called the sub query. Okay, now eighth question, what is a view? So a view is a virtual table based on the result of a select query, which can simplify complex queries. Okay, so for view you can give this small statement like view is a virtual table based on the result set of a select query which can simplify complex queries. Okay, now the question number 9, so what is an index? So basically an index in a database, an index is a database object that improves the speed and data retrieval operations on a database table. Okay, so basically what is index? So index is a database object that improves the speed of data retrieval operation on a database table. Okay, so this is a simple and small definition that means fresher to 3 years of experience people can provide for the explanation of index. Okay, now the 10th question, so what is a store procedure? Okay, so a store procedure is a prepared SQL code that can be saved and reused, allowing for modular programming. Okay, so basically store procedure are SQL code that are saved for reusability that you can mention to the interviewer. Okay, and allowing modular programming. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, what is a trigger? So these questions are very important and can be asked in any interview for any MNC companies and all. These questions are must. Okay, like HCL, Wipro, Infosys. These companies will ask these question mandatory. Okay. Now what is a trigger? So a trigger is a set of SQL statement that automatically executes in response to a certain event on a particular table. Okay, so triggers are a set of SQL statement that automatically execute in a response of certain events on a on a particular table. Okay, so basically these concepts like trigger, store, procedure are detailed concepts, and we have already provided video on our channel on these like store, procedure and trigger concepts, so you need to go through them once you go through the interview questions. Okay, because knowing these concepts will be helpful while you are going to work also, not even in the interviews, but when you are going to work, then also these concepts are used daily if you are in development phase, or even you are in service phase also, then also you will face these kind of things more frequently. Okay, now the 12th question, so what is normalization? Okay, so normalization is the process of organizing data in a database to reduce redundancy and improve data integrity. So basically normalization is the process to reduce redundancy and improve data integrity in the table. And for normalization also we have created one detailed video. This is the very basic concept that every developer must know, so you can go and check that normalization concept also on our videos. Okay, now the 13th question, so what are the different normal forms? Okay, so basically you don't need to provide all the details, you can provide just 3 or 4 normal forms if you have a experience of 0 to 3 years. Okay, so the different type of normal forms are 1NF first normal form, 2NF second normal form, and 3NF third normal form, and BCNF Boyes code normal form. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, what is denormalization? Okay, so the answer for this will be denormalization is the process of intentionally introducing redundancy into a data for the purpose of improving query performance. So basically if your data is redundant, then the select queries and all will work very fast on that particular data. So sometimes there might be some scenarios where we need the data retrieval fast, um, and the data quality we don't need that, we will not prefer the data quality. In that case you can put the table data in denormalized form, and by increasing the redundancy the select query will improve. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, the 15th question, what is a constraint? Okay, so a constraint is a rule applied to a column or table to enforce data integrity. So basically there are multiple constraints in SQL Server, and for constraint also we have a detailed video on our channel, so you can go and check that also, because constraints are very important concepts like null, not null, primary key, foreign key, these concepts. So basically a constraint is a rule applied to a column or a table to enforce data integrity, to maintain the data integrity. Okay, so that means no bad data can be inserted by anyhow. or can be inserted into the table by any source. Okay. Now next question. So next what we have, what is a composite key? So basically a composite key is a combination of two or more columns in a table that uniquely identifies a row. Okay. So basically when you create unique key on top of multiple columns, then in that scenario, that particular column is called the composite key column. Means that particular key is called the composite key. So here it is mentioned like a composite key is a combination of two or more columns in a table that uniquely identifies a row. So basically for a composite key, the number of columns in that unique key must be greater than 2 or equals to 2. Okay, not less than 2. Now move on to the 17th question. So 17th question what we have, what is a candidate key? So basically the answer for this is a candidate key in is a column. A candidate key is a column or a set of columns that can qualify as a potential primary key. Okay, so basically candidate keys are those key which have the potential of becoming a primary key. Okay, and these concepts are also explained on our channel videos, elaborated concepts, so that also you can check after the interview preparation. So basically candidate key have the potential, means each key that have the potential to become a primary key are called the candidate key, which are not a primary key. Okay, so basically among the candidate keys only one key is selected as the primary key. Okay, now move on to the next question, but in the interview don't explain this. Okay, you just need to provide the definition, and if the interviewer will tell you to explain or elaborate little bit, then only elaborate, otherwise provide the simple definition only, and they will move on to the next question. Okay, now next question here. So 18th question, so what is the difference between delete and truncate commands? Okay, so this is a very important question, and for a means experience level of 0 to 3 years, this answer is a perfect answer. So basically we have pointed out the main point. So delete removes rows one at a time and can be rolled back, whereas truncate removes all rows in a table without logging individual row deletions, and the truncated data cannot be rolled back. So basically delete will remove rows one by one, whereas the truncate will remove all the rows at a time without logging individual row deletions. Okay, and the data deleted can be rolled back, but the data truncated cannot be rolled back. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next we have the 19th question. So what is the difference between where and having clause? Okay, so these are mostly asked questions like delete, truncate, where, and having. So what is the difference between where and having clause? So where is used to filter records before aggregation, while having is used to filter records after aggregation. Okay, so once you have applied the aggregate function, then the where filter will be used before that. After the aggregation it cannot be applied, but after the aggregation function is applied, the having clause can be applied on that for filtering with a aggregated value. Okay, like having count greater than, having sum of that greater than, like that. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next we have the 20th question, what is the difference between union and union all? Okay, so the main difference between union and union all is union combines the result of two queries and removes duplicates. Okay, so union combines the result set of two queries and removes the duplicate values also, whereas union all combines the results without removing duplicates. Okay, so basically both are doing same thing, but the union is removing the duplicate values, whereas the union all is taking the duplicate value with it. Okay, जो combining without removing duplicate values. Okay, now move on to the next question. So here we have ended up the basic SQL question. Now intermediate SQL questions which can be asked from the experience level of 2 to 5 years of experience level people. Okay, now move on to the intermediate SQL questions. So here we have the 21st question, which is what is a self join, and for that they can also ask you some example or some query you need to provide, so that you can check on our other videos that for self join also we have provided some interview questions. But if they ask generally like what is a self join, then just you need to provide the definition. Like a self join is a join in which a table is joined with itself. Okay, so basically when a table is joined with itself, then in that scenario that particular join is called the self join. Okay. Now the 22nd question. So what is a cross join? Okay, so this is a very important question. So a cross join returns the Cartesian product of two tables. Okay, combining every row of the first table with every row of the second table. So basically what the cross join will do, that you can check on our joins video, but here for the interview purpose you can provide this particular definition for the cross join, like a cross join returns the Cartesian product of two tables combining each row of the first table with every row of the second table. Okay, now move on to the next question. So 23rd question, what is a correlated subquery? Okay, so this is also very important question. So a correlated subquery is a subquery that references columns from the outer query or the main query. So basically outer and main query are the same thing. Okay, so the correlated subquery is a subquery that is referencing the columns from the outer query. Okay, now move on to the next question. So 24th question, what we have, what is an alias in SQL? So the answer for this, an alias is a temporary name given to a table or a column for the duration of a query. Okay, so this is clear to everyone, like what is alias, and the definition for alias is this one. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have, 25th question. So currently we are going through the intermediate SQL questions only. Now 25th question, what is the difference between count star and count column name? So this is a very important question, and many people confuse in this particular thing because they thought that count star and count column name are same thing, but not. They both are different concepts. So count star counts all rows including duplicates and nulls, while count column name counts only non-null values in the column. Okay, so count column name counts only non-null values in that column. Okay, this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So 26th question, what are aggregate functions? Okay, so the answer for this will be, aggregate functions perform a calculation on a set of values and return a single value. Example, sum, average and count. Okay, so aggregate function, if you are not aware of the detailed thing on this, then you can check our video on aggregate functions, that we have explained all the aggregate functions there. But for the definition purpose you can use this particular answer, like aggregate function performs a calculation on a set of values and return a single value. And example for aggregate functions are sum, average, count, mean, max. Okay, now 27th question. So what are scalar functions? So scalar functions return a single value based on the input value. Example, upper, lower, round. So these are called the scalar functions, which are providing only single value result based on the input value. So upper, if you put upper on a column, then on a string, then it will provide the convert all the digits from that particular string to uppercase, and lower will convert to lowercase, and round will do the round off after the decimal place. Okay. Now 28th question. What is a cursor? Okay, so this is also very important question, like cursor and all people will ask generally nowadays in 2025. Mostly the questions are coming on cursors. Like what is a cursor? So a cursor is a database object used to retrieve, manipulate and navigate through a result set one row at a time. Okay, so basically when we are going to uh, when we need a result set where we need to do a recursion on a single column one by one, so in that cases we use the cursor. Okay, so basically the cursor is a database object which is used to retrieve, manipulate and navigate through a result set one row at a time. Okay, so this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So next we have the 29th question. What is a transaction? So a transaction is a sequence of operations performed as a single logical unit of work, which is either fully completed or fully rolled back. So basically in transaction, either all the transactions, like all the select query or insert query, anything you are writing, so all will be completed at once or all will be rolled back if any of the error will come in each any part of the query. Okay, so that is a transaction. Now what are the acid properties? So this is a very important question. Acid properties are also very asked questions. So acid stand for atomicity, consistency, isolation and durability. Okay, so ensuring reliable processing of data transaction. Okay, reliable processing of data transaction, and this particular full form you must know, like what acid property stands for. At least if you provide this particular thing, like acid property stands for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability, then means around 70 to 75% of your answer is correct. Okay, so even after that means you will not provide the working, but you must know the working also, like it ensures the reliable process of data transactions. So this point also you need to keep remembered, but if you don't remember this, then this much will also work for you. Okay, now move on to the 31st question. So 31st question, what is the difference between rollback and commit? Okay, so rollback undergoes changes made in the current transaction, whereas commit saves all changes made during the transaction. So basically rollback will undo or roll back the transaction, current transactions, whereas the commit will save all the changes that are made to the transaction. Okay, now 32nd question, what is a sequence in SQL? So these questions, this sequence question has been asked to me also, but at that time I didn't give the answer because I have not prepared for this. But you must also get this question, I guess, because these questions are very trendy these days. So what is the sequence in SQL? So a sequence is a database object that generates a sequential number, okay, often used for primary keys. So basically the sequence is a database object which generates sequential numbers, and these are used with the primary keys. Okay, so this is very simple thing, but if you remember, then only you can provide the answer to that. So before going to interview, you must prepare all the interview questions as much as you get for that particular company or any related interview questions and all. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have the 33 question. So what is the difference between char and varchar? So very simple question. Like char is a fixed length string data type, while varchar is a variable length string data type. Okay, and if you need the complete concept on these things, then you can let us know. If you want anything to know and more detail on that particular topic, then also you can comment us, or also you can check our videos on our channel. We have already discussed these particular things, and there might be some portions which are not there. So that for that you can comment us. For that we will create a separate video, or we will let you know on the comment part itself. Okay, now what is a temporary table? So a temporary table is a short-lived table that exists temporarily during a session or transaction. So basically temporary tables are short-lived tables that exist temporarily in the particular session or a transaction or a complete transaction. Okay, so these concepts also you can tell, like there are two types of temporary table: local temporary table, global temporary table. Local temporary table have the existence till that session, whereas global temporary table have the existence till the complete transaction. So these concepts also you can provide. Okay, now 35th question. So what is the common table expression, CTE? Okay, so a CTE is a temporary result set that can be referenced within a select, insert, update, or delete statement. Okay, so CT is a temporary result set. Main thing is that which is used with the, which can reference the select, insert, update, or delete statement on a table or a view. Okay, so basically once we complete this theoretical question, then we will move to the query based questions also. Okay, so we have the query based questions, one part available. Okay, and one is for the theoretical question that we are covering. So once we cover this, we will go to the query part. Okay, now move on to the 36th question. So what is the difference between rank and dense rank? So answer for this will be, rank provides a rank number with gaps of ties, while dense rank provides consecutive rank numbers without gaps. So basically rank, how it will provide, like if multiple rank are, if there are duplicate record, then multiple rank will be, if one is repeating for more than one or two times, then it will provide the means after the gap, the number after the gap it will provide, whereas the dense rank will provide the consecutive ranks. Okay, so for this you can also check the videos, or let us know if you don't understand the concept of rank and dense rank. We will explain this windows function separately to you. Okay, so basically this is the this is the statement that you can provide in the interview, like rank provides a rank number with gaps of ties gaps for ties, while dense rank provides consecutive rank number without gaps. Okay. Now 37th question. So what is the group by clause used for? So the group by clause is used to group rows that have the same values in specified column for aggregation. Okay, so basically group by is used for grouping the rows based on a specified column for values of a specified column for aggregation. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have the 38th question. So what is the difference between inner join and outer join? Okay, so this is here the outer join is referenced as the full join, you can say, or left outer join, right outer join, or full outer join. So basically these three come under the outer join category, and inner join, like the join is the inner join. Okay, so now what it is, answer for this is, what is the difference between inner join and outer join? So inner join returns rows with matching values in both tables, while outer join returns all rows from one table and matched rows from the other table. Okay, so now move on to the 39th question. So what are the different types of indexes? Okay, so this is a very important question, and that are majorly asked because most of the people know that two types of indexes like cluster index and non-cluster index, but there are few more indexes that we need to know. So types of indexes include cluster index, non-cluster index, unique index, column stored index, filtered index, hash index, index with included columns, and index on computed columns. Okay, so this will be your complete answer for this question. Okay, now 40th question. So what is a clustered index? So a clustered index determines the physical order of data in a table, and there can only be one clustered index per table. So we don't create multiple clustered index on a table because it is determining the order of the table. So we cannot determine the order of table based on multiple columns. Okay, so basically that it is telling, like, a cluster index determines the physical order of the data in a table, and there can only be one cluster index each table per table. Okay, now move on to the next question. These are very important questions. So next we have the 41st question, 41 question. What is a non-clustered index? Okay, so a non-clustered index does not alter the physical order of the table and can have multiple instances in a table. So we can create number of non-clustered index, and these cannot determine the physical order of the table because they are stored separate from the table itself. They will take other storage space on that. They are created like a table, the non-clustered index. Okay, so now move on to the next question. 42nd question. So what is a bitmap index? So answer for this is, a bitmap index uses bit arrays for indexing, suitable for columns with a limited number of distinct values. Okay. Now move on to the 43rd question. So what is the difference between OLTP and OLAP? So if you need a detailed video on OLTP and OLAP, then also you can let us know because this is a very important concept. Okay. Now the answer for this will be, OLTP stands for Online Transaction Processing, which focuses on transaction oriented tasks, while OLAP, Online Analytical Processing, is used for data analysis and reporting. Okay, now move on to the next question. So, 44th question. What is a data warehouse? Okay, so this is also a very important question. So a data warehouse is a centralized repository that stores large amount of historical data for analysis and reporting. Okay, so basically data warehouses are centralized repository which contain large amount of data from multiple sources and can maintain the history for analyzing that data or preparing reports on top of that data for business needs and all. Okay, so basically you are also going to create data warehouses when you are going to work in the company where this particular concept is followed, like multiple sources are there and you are centralizing that particular sources at a single place and extracting data from that centralized position for analyzing that data or providing reports on top of that data in future. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, so for the fifth question. Now, what is a data mart? Okay, so a data mart is a subset of a data warehouse focused on a specific business line or team. Okay, so basically data warehouses will contain whole and sole data, and data mart is a part, means subset of that particular data warehouse, which contain data on a specific business or a specific for a specific team or for a specific line number or for some specific requirement. Okay, now this is a means a data mart you can consider as a small part than that of data warehouse. Okay, now move on to the next question. So 46th question, what is ETL? Okay, so the answer for this will be ETL stands for extract, transform and load, and it is a process of extracting data from different sources, transforming it into suitable formats and loading it into a data warehouse. So after performing the ETL, means extract, transform and loading, means extraction and transformation, we will load the data into data warehouse if we have that particular process. Okay, now 47th question. So what is a star schema? So these are most asked questions, so you must remember the definition also and understand the concept behind that also. So if you need a detailed video on these concepts, so any concept if you need a detailed video, then let us know, we will provide the detailed video on that also. Now what it is telling, what is the star schema? So a star schema is a type of database schema that organizes data into fact and dimension tables resembling a star shape. So basically in star schema, the tables are structured in the terms of dimension table and fact table. So dimension table you can also tell as the master table, and fact tables that are created on top of those dimension table, extracting data from multiple dimension tables. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, so next we have the 48th question. What is a snowflake schema? Okay, so a snowflake schema is a more normalized version of the star schema. Okay, so basically snowflake schema is the more normalized version of the star schema, where dimension tables are further broken down into sub dimensions. Okay, so in snowflake schema we further divide the dimension table or master tables into sub master table or sub dimension tables. Okay, now the next question, 49th question, what is data integrity? Okay, so data integrity refers to the accuracy and consistency of data over its life cycle. So basically data integrity is the how accurate your data is and how consistent your data is, that refers to the data integrity. Okay, so data integrity refers to the accuracy and consistency of data over its life cycle. Now the 50th question, so what is referential integrity? Okay, so referential integrity ensures that relationship between tables remain consistent, particularly with foreign keys. So basically referential integrity is like if you have two tables and there is a foreign key primary key relationship between them, then it must be ensured by the foreign key that no bad data is inserted into the table other than that is available in the parent table. Other than those data which are available in the parent table, that data we cannot insert into the foreign key table or a child table. Okay, so that you can say the referential integrity, referencing two tables and maintaining the integrity. So simple means definition for this will be, referential integrity ensures that relationship between tables remain consistent, particularly with foreign keys. Okay, now move on to the next question, and we have completed 50 questions here. Now move on to the 51 question. So what is a pivot table in SQL? Okay, and now these 50 from 51st question we moved into the advanced SQL question, which are for 4 to 10 years of experience you can consider. Okay, now 51st question, so what is a pivot table in SQL? And no question will come outside from these series. Okay, so if we have practiced all the series that we have provided on our channel and this particular 100 set of questions, so this 100 set of question is means enough for around 50 to 60% of your interviews. 50 to 60% of companies will ask these questions only. Okay, so what is a pivot table in SQL? So a pivot table summarizes data from a detailed table, allowing user to analyze it in a multi-dimensional format. Okay, so basically pivot tables provide a multi-dimensional format for the user to analyze their data. Okay, now 52nd question, so how do you create a pivot table in SQL? So answer for this will be, we can create a pivot table using the pivot function. which allows us to transform rows into columns. So basically in pivot, the rows can be transmitted into columns and columns come into rows. Okay. Now the 53rd question. So what is the difference between pivot and unpivot? So basically the main difference between pivot and unpivot is like that. Pivot rotates data from row to column. Okay. By using the pivot, we can convert the rows into columns, while unpivot converts columns back into rows. So unpivot will do the opposite of that of pivot. Okay, it will convert columns back into the rows and pivot will convert rows back into the columns. Okay, now move on to the next question. So 54th question, what are Windows function? So Windows function performs calculation across a set of table rows related to the current row without collapsing the result set. Okay, so basically the main definition for Windows function is like Windows functions perform calculations across a set of tables across the set of table rows related to the current row without collapsing the result set. And you can provide some examples for also Windows function like lead, lag. You can provide and previously also we have mentioned some of the functions, row number, rank, dense rank. These examples you can also provide in the example of Windows functions. Okay, and any of the concept that you find, any topic you want to make us a detailed video, then we will prepare for you. Okay, now move on to the next question after these, because these are very important concepts and these must need to covered completely. Now the 55th question. So what is the row number function? Okay, so the row number function assigns a unique sequential integer to rows within a partition of a result set. Okay, so basically row number will assign a unique sequence of integer to rows within a partition of a result set. Means on the basis of any column, if we have done the partition, then on that top of that particular partition, the row number will provide us the unique number, means 1 2 3 4 to each of the rows based on that particular partition. Okay, like we have done a partition based on the department. So for each department, if the number of rows are like 10 10, then the row number will provide 1 to 10 unique number according to each row, each department. Okay, now move on to the next question. So 56th question, what is the n-tile function? So n-tile divides a result set into a specified number of groups and assigns a group number to each row. Okay, so this is enough for n-tile function. This particular definition you can provide and it is okay. Now 57th question, what is the lag function? So lag function accesses data from a previous row in the same result set without the need of a self join. So basically lag function, what it will do, it will provide the result of the previous data. So in case of lag, the first row from that lag function column, the column generated from the lag function, the first row will always be null because it is accessing the previous record. So for the first record there will be no previous record. Okay, so that is the case every time there is a null at the top of the lag function column. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next, what is the lead function? 58th question, what is the lead function? So lead accesses data from the next row in the same result set, similar to lag but forward looking. So basically lead is also same to the that of lag, but it is means checking for the next data, not the previous one. Lag is checking for the previous data in the row and lead is checking for the next data in the row. So for lead, the last row will be null because for the last value there will be no next value. Okay, so similarly as for lag, the first row is null and in lead the last row is null. Okay, now move on to the next question. So after 58th we have the 59th question. So what is the difference between a table and a view? Okay, so answer for this will be a table stores actual data while a view is a virtual table that provides a representation of the data from one or more tables. So basically tables are those means which contain the actual data, whereas the views are the virtual tables that will represent the data from another table, one or more tables. Okay, so basically we can create complex views also that will contain more than one tables also, and single table also we can use in the views. Okay, now the 60th question. So 60th question, what is the difference between a materialized view and a regular view? Okay, so the Difference between materialized view and a regular view is a materialized view stores the result of a query physically on disk, allowing the faster access, while a regular view does not store data. So the regular view will contain only the select query, whereas materialized view will contain the data also, because of which querying the materialized view will be faster than that of querying a view. So these questions are also asked generally, like which view is more faster or good for performance, like materialized view or regular view. So if we want to do a faster query, then materialized view is more faster than that of a simple view or regular view. Okay, now 61st question. So what is database normalization and why it is important? So this is for advanced level SQL question. So advanced level answer also required for this. Okay, basically we have also checked in basics, we are just providing the name and all, but for advanced level what answer you need to provide, like normalization organizes data to reduce redundancy and dependency. And normalization is important because it helps in improving data integrity and efficiency. Okay, now we have 62nd question. So explain 1NF, 2NF, 3NF and BCNF, means types of normalization need to explain. So the answer for this will be 1NF stands for first normal form and it requires atomicity of values. Okay, and second NF means 2NF, second normal form. So second normal form eliminates partial dependencies. Okay, and the explained video for this particular concept, like complete normalization, we have already posted on our channel, so you can go and check that also, because if we are going to discuss the complete concepts, then the video will become very large and we can't be able to complete the 100 questions. So here you can check the definitions and you can follow our channel videos for the detailed concept on these particular thing, because these are very basic thing and very important thing, like normalization and all are must ask questions. Okay, so you must know how it is going to work. Now the 3NF, so the third normal form. So the third normal form removes transitive dependencies. Okay, and the last one, BCNF, Boyes code normal form, is an enhancement of 3NF that resolves anomalies caused by functional dependencies. Okay, so this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So next we have the 63rd question. What is indexing and how does it improves query performance? Okay, so the simple answer for this will be like, indexing creates a data structure that improves the speed of data retrieval operations by providing quick access path. Okay, so basically indexes will create a data structure that can be accessed for providing a quick access path. Okay, and once we complete this theoretical part, we will move on to the query part. Okay, now the 64th question. So what are the pros and cons of indexing? Okay, so the detailed answer for this will be like, pros of indexing, fast data retrieval, and cons of indexing is slower data modification, insert, update and delete, and increased storage requirement. So basically non-cluster index are stored separately from the table and they will hold some storage space also. So means they will increase the storage requirements. And also when we have index on the columns, then the DML commands like insert, update and delete are a bit slower. So slower data modification will happen, because at the same time the data need to be also inserted, and on top of that the indexes also need to be inserted in the index stored tables. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, so we have the 65th question. So what is query optimization? So the answer for this will be, query optimization is the process of making a query run more efficiently by choosing the best execution plan. Okay, so by using the best execution plan, we will determine if our query is optimized or not, or it will execute in a means proper time, quick or efficient time. Okay, so that is query optimization. Query optimization is the process of making a query run more efficient by choosing the best execution plan. So execution plans are created by SSMS itself, like SQL Server Management Studio will prepare the execution plan before the execution of a query and provide you details on what is the most efficient way to execute this query. Okay, So we will check that particular also. If you need a detailed video on execution plan, how to check the execution plan and how to optimize the query on basis of execution plan, then that also we will provide. Let us know in the comment section. Okay. Now the 66th question. So what are the different methods to optimize a SQL query? Okay. So the some of the important methods to optimize the SQL query are like using indexes. We can use the indexes to improve the performance. Avoiding select star. In place of select star, we can mention the select and the column names and then from the table. Like the desired column names which we need the record, we can mention that and find out the uh, output instead of using the select star on top of that, because select star is checking for all the columns, not necessary or necessary. Okay, now the third point is optimizing joins. So join we can optimize. And now reducing subqueries. So basically subqueries will increase the means degrade the performance. So basically we can uh, use the subqueries if needed only, otherwise we can prohibit using subqueries and all. Okay, now analyzing the data output. So by analyzing the output of the data, you can determine means what kind of query you can write that will be providing you quicker results in short period of time. Okay. And the last one is checking execution plans. Okay. So by checking the execution plan, you can know how your query is going to execute. Okay. Now the 67th question. So how do you use query execution plan in SQL? Okay. So answer for this will be query execution plan provides information about how a SQL query will be executed, including the access method and joins type used. Okay, so we can use the information provided by the query execution plan to optimize our query. Okay, so basically query execution plan will provide us the way our query is getting executed and how by analyzing that we can know how we can means enhance the or optimize the query that we have written. Okay, so now move on to the next question. So next what we have the 68th question. So what are the different types of subqueries? Okay, so the answer for this will be like different types of subqueries in SQL are single row subqueries, multi-row subqueries, and correlated subqueries. Okay, and the detailed video on subquery also we have created on our channel that you can go and also check, because subqueries are also very important concept in SQL. Even in interviews also, and even when you are going to work, then also you will use subqueries more frequently. Okay, now the 69th question. So what is a recursive query? Okay, so the simple answer for this will be a recursive query refers to a query that references itself, which are often used for hierarchical data. Okay, so basically recursive queries are those queries which will reference to itself. Okay, and these are often used for hierarchical data like parent child relationship. If we have, like if we have two tables where means for all of the employees there is single manager, and then we need to find out who is the manager for that particular manager. So we need to reference that table, means manager or manager, or you can say manager or worker relationship is there in a table, and then if we want to know which particular manager belongs to which worker, then using the self join, that is the most example for that. We will check if we have the example, then we can explain that example also later on in our some video. Okay, so you can also check, like this is the particular query that is basically asked for. Self join is a means example for that recursive query. Okay, so recursive queries are those query which references itself and provide the output. Okay, so now the 70th question. So what is the difference between except and not in commands? So the answer for this will be except returns distinct rows from the first query that are not found in the second, while not in checks for exclusion of specific values from a list. Okay, so basically not in will check for the exclusion, means if that particular record is not available in that result set, whereas except will check for the distinct rows from the first query that are not found in the second query. Okay, so these are most important theoretical questions. Now we will move on to our query based questions. So we have completed basic SQL questions, intermediate SQL questions, and advanced SQL question, and we have covered till fresher to the 10 year of experience people. Okay, now we will move on to the query part. So questions based on SQL queries. Okay, now we will start the query based questions. Okay, so the first question that is from query based is write a SQL query to find the second highest salary from a table named employees. So basically this employee table we have already created on our SQL Server Management Studio. So we will go and resolve each of the questions one by one. Okay, so now move on to SSMS. So we have our top 100 interview question database. Now expand this. So in tables we have the employee table. Now execute this. So now paste the first question and we will resolve it. So what it is telling, write a query to find the second highest salary from a table named employee. So first of all, we will check select star from employee and then we will try to resolve this question. So select star from employees. So here you can see, execute this. So here we have around 15 rows. Now we need to find out the second highest salary. So for finding out second highest salary, already we have cleared this particular question in our previous video, but we will check how we will provide the query for this. So for finding the second highest salary, select top two from employees and what top two? So top two salary we need. So top two salary from employees and then order our record, order by salary descending, DESC. So this query will return us the top 1 and top 2 salary from the employees table. Now for finding out only the top 2 salary, top 2 highest salary, we need to make this particular query as a derived table and then extract the expression from here. So how to do this? So select top 1 salary from the below query and then here we need to order our record ascending, order by salary ascending, because here we have only two records, which is the top salary and the second highest salary and the second highest salary. Now we need to find out only the second highest salary. So here you need to provide one alias. So A, this particular query is considered as A and then select top one salary from A, order by salary descending. Now when we execute this, then we get the exact answer that we need. So this is the proper query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. Okay, now here you can check, here we are getting top 1 and top 2 salary. Okay, and by this we are getting the second highest salary. Okay, so this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have, 72nd question, 72 question. So write a SQL query to find the name of employees who have joined in the last 30 days. Okay, so we need to check those employees who have joined in last 30 days. So for that, this is important question also. So we can remove this, and these queries I will provide to you on Telegram channel. So you can go to the Telegram channel if you need the data set for employees table and also queries for these particular issues. Okay, now comment out this. So what it is telling, write a SQL query to find the names of employees who have joined in the last 30 days. So for checking that, what we will do, so we need to use the date add function also. So select star from employees table where, so date of joining column we already have. So when we execute this select star, then we can see date of joining column we have, and what columns we have that we didn't check. So employee ID we have, employee name we have, date of joining we have, salary we have, department we have, and gender we have. So we need to find out those date of joining which are within 30 days. So where doj is greater than what we will do. So date add, and how date add is working, that you can go and check to our date and time function video that we have explained in detail about all the date and time functions. So we need to do date of joining, date add, day and then minus 30 from the current date, from get date. So get date will provide us the current system date. Okay, So get date and then cast this particular to date, because date of joining is in date data type. So cast this particular expression to this particular expression as date. Okay, now when we execute this, then we will find out those employee who have joined in last 30 days. Okay, so here you can see, so Isaac record is duplicated. Okay, so here Mira and Isaac have joined within last 30 days. Okay, this is clear. 31st March 2025, 11th 4 April 2025. Okay, now move on to the next question. So this is clear. Now the 73rd question, what it is telling, write a SQL query to retrieve the top n record from a table. So how to find out the top n record from a table? Now copy this and we will paste this in SSMS and check how to find out the query for this. Okay, so 73rd question, write a SQL query to retrieve the top n rows or records from the table. So this is a very simple question. So just you need to select top and then top n. So if you want 10 record, top 10 records, so top 10 star from employees table, and this will provide us the top 10 records from the employees table. So here you can see 10 rows and these are 10 rows. Okay, so this is clear how to find out top n rows from a table. Select top n star from table name. Okay, this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have, 74th question. So 74th question, what it is telling, write a SQL query to find duplicate records in a table. Okay, so now we need to check for duplicate records in a table. Now copy this and move on to SSMS and paste this. We will check the duplicate records in the table. So in employees table we have some duplicate records, so that we will find out. So for finding the duplicate records, what we need to do, we need to write the query like select name. So on the basis of name column, employee name column, we will find if any record is duplicated or not. So find select emp name comma, then count star from employees table. Okay, employees table, group by employee name. Okay, copy this, group by employee name having. So once the aggregate function, on aggregate function, if we need the filter, we already discussed, we need the having clause. Okay, so group by employee name having count star greater than 1. Okay, so if the record is available more than one time, then it will show us the records. Okay, now execute this. So here you can see Isaac record is twice and Madhu record is twice. So to check this, how we will check this, so select star from employees where emp name in Isaac comma, so here in single quote we need to put Isaac. So in employee name in Isaac and Madhu comma Madhu, Madhu, Madhu. Okay, now when you execute this, then we can see like here we have two records for both of them, and this particular query is providing us the number those records which have duplicate values. Okay, so Isaac and Madhu. Okay, this query is clear. Now what we are doing here, we are selecting the name, and on the basis of name we are finding out the count star of all the records, and then we are checking if the record is having more than one count or not. Okay, now move on to the next question. So any question if you don't understand, then you can ask us on the comment, or you can also let us know by our Telegram channel or anything. Then we will provide a resolution to that, or make a separate video for that if needed also. Okay, now the 75th question. So what it is telling, write a SQL query to delete duplicate records from a table. So these are very mostly asked questions in SQL, how to find out the duplicate records and how to delete the duplicate records. So how to delete duplicate records in SQL Server? Now we will check. Write a query, SQL query to delete duplicate records from a table. So as we have seen in employee table, we have two records duplicate. Now we will try to delete those records. So what we will use? We will use Windows function with the CT. So there are many methods, around 4 or 5 methods for you doing this, but this is the most simpler way to delete the duplicate record. So how to write the query for this? So the final query is like with CTE, as we are creating one CTE, and then inside the CTE we will select star comma row number. So row number is a Windows function. Row number which is used with over clause. So row number over, and then we will do the partition by the employee name. We will do emp name, and then order by employee id, emp id. Okay, and this we will mention as rank, rnk, rank. Okay, now when you do a select star from CTE. Okay, so once we do the select star from CTE, what record we are getting? First we will check that. So must specify table name. Okay, from table we have not mentioned here. So from employee table, yellow white double employees table. So from employees table. Okay, now when you execute this select star from the CTE, so what kind of record we are getting? We will get a separate column like rank. Here you can see for the duplicate records like Isaac, it is providing 1 and 2 rank. Okay, so for Madhu also 1 and 2 rank. So what we need to delete? We need to delete the second rank. So here we can mention like select star from city where rnk equals to 2. So rnk is greater than 1. Rnk is greater than 1. So now when we execute this, so we are getting only the duplicate records. Now we will remove these particular records. So simply write delete from delete from CT where rank is greater than 1. Now execute this, and then 2 rows has been affected. Now when you go and check, so select star from employees table where name in employee name, sorry, emp name in Isaac, Isaac, comma Madhu. For Isaac and Madhu we have duplicate records, Madhu. Okay, now we will check if the records has been deleted or not. So now when you execute this, so we are getting only single records. Okay, so this is clear how to delete duplicate records from the table, from a table. So these are very important questions and you must know the logic for this. Any way means there are multiple ways to delete duplicate records, but any one way you need. This is important for your working also, and for interview perspective this is very important. Okay, now move on to the next question. So 76th question. So 76th question, what we have? So we have write a SQL query to find the nth highest salary from a table. Okay, so second highest salary we have already seen. Now here it is telling to find out the nth highest salary. So for this there is a important query, and this is also very important question to find the nth highest salary of an employee or from a table. Now comment this out, and then we will check the final query for this. So write a SQL query to find the nth highest salary. So for finding the nth highest salary, how you will do this? So select distinct salary from employees table. Now here we will use the offset and fetch next. So offset, what it will do? So offset function basically skips the number of records that is mentioned, and fetch next, which will fetch the next record, means for the specified number of rows. Okay, so here we will do select distinct salary from employees, order by order by order by salary descending. So similarly, if you need to find out n number of lowest salary, then you need to order by ascending, and here we want the highest salary, that is why we are ordering by salary descending. And then we need to apply offset and then offset n minus 1. So n minus 1, what it will come? N minus 1, n will be our means which salary we want. So n minus 1 offset, what it will do? It will skip the n minus 1 record. So if 10th highest salary it required, so 10th highest salary 10 minus 1, so 9 records it will skip, and then 10th record it will provide. For finding out the 10th record, what we will do, offset n minus 1 rows, and then fetch next, fetch next, fetch next one row only. Okay, so this is the complete format for this, one row only, only, sorry, only, only. And this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. So nth, if you want to take fifth highest salary, so for fifth highest salary 5 minus 1 will be 4. Okay, now when you execute this, so this is the fifth highest salary, 79,000. Okay, now similarly if you want to find out 10th highest salary, so offset n minus 1 will be 9, and then execute this, then this is the 10th highest salary. Similarly second highest salary, so second highest salary n minus 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, offset 1 means one row need to be skipped, and then fetch next one row only. Okay, now execute this, this will provide us the second highest salary, 97,000, that we have already seen in the previous question. Okay, so this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question, n minus 1 mention here, and this is the final query. Okay, this is very important query. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have, so next we have the, okay, delete this. So next we have the 77th question. So write a SQL query to find the common record between two tables. Okay, so for finding the common record between two tables, we will use the intersect function. Okay, so intersect function. Now here we have already created one manager table also, which is similar to that of employees table. Now refresh this. So manager table we have, and you can see select top 1000 from manager table. So here we have the same record of that of employees table, employee id, employee name, date of joining, salary, department, gender. Okay, now when we execute this, so we need to find out common records between both the tables. So employee table and manager table, we will check the common records. So basically both are currently completely common. Okay, so to do this, select star from employees table, employees table. Now intersect. So intersect, what it will do, it will provide the common record between two result sets, and also remove the duplicate records. Only the common record it will provide to you. Okay, and how the intersect is going to work, for complete video you can check our video on insert, accept, and all these kind of functions. Okay, so we have already put a video on that, detailed video on that. So if you need a detailed knowledge on this, you can check that. Now select star from employees, intersect. We need to check the common record between employees and managers. So select star from managers table, managers, managers. Okay, this will provide the common record between both employees and managers table. Execute this. So here you can see 13 rows are common between both of the tables. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, this is also one important question only, you can say. All the 100 questions are important only. Okay, once you practice this all 100 questions, then you will be able to clear any SQL interview or for any company. Okay, now no question will go out from these questions. Okay, very rarely or very exceptional case, some questions will come that will be out of this particular 100 question set. Otherwise means most of the questions will be from this particular set only. Now 78 question. So write a SQL query to find the records that are present in one table but not in another table. So similarly here we need to find out the non-common records between two tables. Now copy this and then paste this question on SSMS. We will check the final query for this. Okay, comment it out. So currently we need to go and update some records in manager table. So edit top 200 record in managers table. We will put some record like uh, let's take 11 Madan. Madan joining date will be like this. We can copy and paste, and then salary will be, let's take 15,000 only. Okay, and he is from IT department, and then mail. Okay, so one non-common record we have added in manager table. Now we will check how to find out the non-common record which is available in one table but not available in another table. So how to do this? So select star from managers, 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 and then in the previous query for checking the means the common records we have used intersect. So for checking the different record means distinct non-unique record, we will use the except. Okay, except, except, select star from employees, ploys, employees. Now when we execute this, so except basically find out the non-common records between two tables. Now execute this, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question, to find out records present in one table but not in another table. So Madan is the record which is present in managers table but not available in employees table. Okay, so this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have? Next we have the 79th question. So now we are very near to our end. So 79th question, write a SQL query to retrieve the first 10 characters of a string. First 10 characters of a string. Okay. So for this we need to use left function. Okay. Because we need to find out first 10 characters from a string. So let's take if a string is given like Abhinav Kumar, Abhinav, Abhinav Kumar. Okay, now we need first 10 characters from this particular string. So what is our first 10 character? First we will check that, and then we will write the query for this. So first 10 character will be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So Abhinav KUM till that particular value it will come. So to find the first 10 character from a string, select left, and similarly you can apply this particular thing on a tables column also to find out top means first 10 characters from the string. So this is our string. Now comma 10. So 10 digits we want from the left, first 10 digits, and then execute this. This is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. So execute this, and you can see here we are getting first 10 characters from the string. And similarly if you want let's take we have 4-digit name in employee table, employees, so select start from employees table. First we can do this, select employee name, emp name, sorry, select emp name from employee table, employees table. Okay, so execute this first. Now here you can see 4 character names we have. So let's take if we have a requirement to extract only 2 characters, first 2 characters from the name field. So how we will do this? So simply we will apply left employee name, and then we need 2 characters from length, 2 characters from left, and then comma mention the employee name also, so it will be better for comparison. Now execute this and then check the result set. So here you can see first 2 characters are extracted, and this is the name. Okay, so this is clear to everyone. Now knowing the concept and understanding the question is the main part of query based questions. Once you understand the concept, like what the question is telling to you and how you can resolve this particular question, then you will be able to resolve any query based question in SQL. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have? So next we have the 80th question. So write a SQL query to concatenate two strings. Okay, so if we have given two strings, then how we will concatenate these two strings in SQL? Okay, so for concatenating, it is a very simple question. Just we need to use the addition sign. So let's take, we have two strings like Ajay, Ajay, and then Mohan, Ajay, Mohan, and John also we have. So John, John. Now we need to concatenate all these three strings. Okay, so how we will do this? For concatenation we only have to use the plus sign here. So select Ajay, paste this, and then plus, then one space also we will provide. So for providing the space, you need to put single quote with space. Okay, and then add it with Mohan. Okay, and then provide one space between them, and then add John. Okay, so by this, using this way, you can concatenate strings in SQL Server. Execute this. So here you can see Ajay, Mohan, and John are coming in single string. Okay, So this is clear to everyone. Now move on to the next question. So similarly, you can apply this particular logic in a column also. So currently we don't have any column like this in our employee table. So that is why we have provided you separate example. So two strings also you can concatenate. So remove the other strings. You can concatenate only Ajay and Mohan. So select this. Now Ajay and Mohan are concatenated with a space between them. Okay. Now move on to the next question. So these are also important questions, but these are basic kind of questions, concatenation and all. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, 81st question. Okay, we are very near to our end. Now 81st question, write a SQL query to convert a string to uppercase. Okay, so uppercase means all the letters in caps. Okay, so for that we have inbuilt function which is upper in SQL server. Now execute this particular query. First of all, check the records in employees table. So select star from, select employee name, emp name from employees table. Okay, so here you can see first letter is caps and other letters are small, so we need to convert it completely into uppercase. So for that we can use only the single function which is upper. So upper is the inbuilt function in SQL server which will convert a small case letter into uppercase letters. Okay, and for comparison we will write the employee name also separately, and we will provide one alias to this. So alias to this will be as caps. Okay, now write the query little bit fresh so that you can also be able to analyze the query once you check this. Okay, and now this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. Now execute this and check the result set. Select all, now execute. So here you can see John, Mary, all are coming in complete uppercase letter, and this is the original name that we have. Okay, so this is clear how to convert a string into uppercase. Now move on to the next question. So next we have the 82nd question. So write a SQL query to find the length of a string. Okay, so basically for this also we have an inbuilt function in SQL server which is len function. Okay, so we need to find out the length of a string. Gonna paste this. So now we will find out the length of name column. Okay, so select, we will find the length of a string by using the len function. So select len and then employee name, emp name as length, 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 comma, for reference we will take employee name column also, emp name from employees table, employees employees table. Okay, now this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. Select length of employee name, and employee name we have taken for checking or taking the reference like how much character it has, and then we are extracting the record from employees table. Okay, so this query is clear to everyone, and if any query or anything you don't understand, then let us know. We will make some arrangement for that. Okay, now execute this, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. So here you can see John has 4 character, so length will be 4. Mary has 5 character, length is 5. Manoj 5. Richard has 7, so 7, and so on. Okay, so this is clear how to find out the length of a string. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have, next we have the 83rd question. So write a SQL query to find the position of a substring in a string. Okay, so basically we need to find out the position at which position a particular string is available in a substring. So let's take, if we have a condition like, if we have some name like domain name or email ID, if we have like Abhinav, Abhinav, Abhinav at the rate abkcho abkcho.com. So if we have this kind of name and we need to find out the position of at the rate in this particular character, this particular string, so how we will do this? So we will use a char index function which is the inbuilt function of SQL server. So, and these particular functions we have already discussed in our previous videos. So for detailed analysis and on how these particular functions are working and what they are doing, you can check our detailed video also after going through the interview question. Okay, so select char index. So char index required 2 arguments mandatory, and 3 arguments also you can provide. because the third argument is the optional argument. Okay, to check if from which position we are going to start. Okay, so char index, so here we want the position of at the rate. So char index, so which character to be, which string to be checked. So at the rate need to be checked in in which of the string. So in this string abhinav at the rate abcacho.com. And then this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for checking the position of a substring. Now execute this, and then you can see here eighth position. So count here, count from here: first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So at the rate is available at the eighth position. Okay, so this question is clear, like how to find the position of a substring in a string using char index function. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have? Next we have write a SQL query to replace a substring in a string. Okay, so basically here we need to replace one string value from a substring, replace one string value from a, replace a substring in a string. So one substring we need to replace in a string, like one character we need to replace with another character, you can consider like that. So copy this and then paste this. So basically in interviews, the interviewer can provide you one string value also, like similarly previous example we will check. So abhinav, one second, abhinav at the rate 123, like this kind of string if we have, and we need to replace at the rate 123 with Kumar. So how we will do this? So we can use a inbuilt function in SQL which is replace. So select replace, and replace required three arguments. So what are the three arguments? First argument will be our string, so replace this string. What we need to replace? We need to replace at the rate 123. Okay, at the rate 123 we need to replace, and replace with space and Kumar. So remove with space and Kumar, Kumar. Okay, so this is clear. Now this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. Now execute this and we will get our final record. So here you can see at the rate 123 is replaced from space Kumar. Okay, Abhinav Kumar it is coming. Now clear. Now move on to the next question, and if you don't understand anything here, you can let us know, as we are already telling each time. Now the 85th question. So 85th question, what it is telling: write a SQL query to remove leading and trailing spaces from a string. Okay, so let's take an example, like if you have one string which have leading and trailing spaces. Okay, and these functions, like what, how we are means using these in single string, you can use these particular function in table columns also. Okay, in the same way. Okay, now write a SQL query to remove leading and trailing spaces from the string. So for removing leading and trailing spaces, we have three functions, like ltrim for removing leading spaces, rtrim for removing trailing spaces, and trim for removing both leading and trailing spaces. So here either we can use ltrim, rtrim both, or we can use the trim function. So let's take, we have an string like mm, space, three spaces are there, like 1 2 3, and then string string string, and then back also we have four spaces, 3 4. Now do this. Now when you select this, first select this particular string. So select string. Now execute this. So what kind of value we are getting? So you can see here the leading spaces are also available and trailing spaces are also available. Now we need to remove the trailing, leading and trailing spaces. For that, the final query will be like select ltrim. So ltrim, what it will do? It will remove the leading spaces. Paste this. So ltrim will remove the leading spaces, and on top of that we will find out the rtrim. So rtrim will remove the trailing spaces. Okay, spaces from right side. So rtrim on a string. Now this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. Now execute this, and here you can see now the string is coming fine. So how to check this? So put this particular value in single string. So here you can see no spaces, no leading spaces, no trailing spaces is there in the string. Okay, so similarly you can use this also, or you can use this also. So instead of doing rtrim ltrim, you can one time you can do only trim. So trim will remove both leading and trailing spaces. Now execute this. So here you can see same record we are getting. So if you are thinking that then why we will use the L trim and R trim, so basically in some scenarios there are possibilities like only you get spaces at left side or only you get spaces at the right side. So for that purpose L trim R trim are also available with us. Okay, so both either you can provide this or this, both will work fine. Okay, for removing both leading and trailing spaces from a string. Okay, this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So next we have the 86th question. 86th question, what it is telling? So write a SQL query to find the difference between two dates. Okay, so if two dates are given, then we need to find out the difference between both the dates. So how to do this? So we can use the date diff function, and this date and time functions are very mandatory things in SQL, even when you are going to work or even for interview perspective. So you must go and check the date and time function video on our channel after completing this interview. Okay, because that are very mandatory and anything can be asked from date and time functions. So most people are confused in that date and time function only. So you must need to have the complete concept on how the date and time function are working and how many types of date and time functions are available and how to use them in a much better way. Okay, so now write a SQL query to find the difference between two dates. So let's take, if we have given two dates, so one will be 2025 January 1st. Okay, and the second date will be like 2025 and then uh, March 15th. Okay, so we need to find out the day difference between both the dates. So how to do this? So we can use select date diff date diff date diff function, and then we need to find out the day difference. So day and date diff will require three argument. The part of the date means day, here we want, so day, and then the first date, and then the second date. Okay, comma second date, and this will find out the date difference between both the dates as day difference, day date difference diff. Okay, now execute this, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. Now execute this. So 73 days difference is between these two dates. Okay, so this is clear how to find out the difference between two dates. So using the date diff function we can find out the difference between 2 days. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, 87th question. So what it is telling, write a SQL query to add a number of days to a date. So if we want to add some number of days in a date, then how to do that? That it is asking. So basically understanding the question is a first priority. So once you understand the question, then anyhow you can find out the method to resolve that particular question. And when you don't understand the question, then any method you can take, you can't be able to find out the solution for that. And for understanding the question, the first thing is to practice questions by means more and more times. So before going to interview you must need to practice each of the interview question as many times as you can in that particular period of time. Okay, so here what is the question? Write a SQL query to add a number of days to a date. So let's take, if we have given one date, so 2025 and then 01 and then 01, and we need to add 73 days, 73 days in this, 73 days in this, the 73 days in this particular date. So how to do this? So we can use here now the date add function. So see, date function is coming again and again. So select date add, and how many days we need to add? So date add day, and how many number of days? 73 days we need to add. In what? So date add also requires three argument, date part, and then number of days or number of that date part, and then the original date, which date we need to add it. So in this date we need to add, and then what will be our answer? As date added. Okay, now execute this, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. Okay, so here you can see 15th March we are getting. So similarly any number of days they will ask you to add in a date, then you can add it using this particular date add function and this method, and this is the final query for this. Okay, now move on to the next question. So 88th question. Okay, so 88th question, what it is telling, write a SQL query to extract the year from a date. Okay, so if you if a date is given to you and you need to extract only the year part for that, so how you will do this? So for that we have a year function. Okay, and these will come under date time function only. So let's take, if we have this particular date like 2024 05 15, now we need the year part only, like 2024 we want to extract from this particular date. So how to do this? For this we will use only the year function. So select year, and then this required only single argument, which is the date. So select year from this particular date as year part. Okay, now execute this, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. Now execute this. So here you can see only the year part we are extracting, like 2024. Okay, this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have, the 89th question. So write a SQL query to extract the month from a date. So similarly, how we have extracted the year, now we need to extract the month part from the date. Okay, so for that we have the month function. Okay, so let's take one date we have, like 2025, and then 12th month, December month, and then first date. So we need the month part, like this part we need from the date. So how to do this? So we can use the month function. So select month from, and this also required only single argument, which is the date. So month from this particular date as month part, month part. Okay, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. Now execute this, and here you can see the month part, only the month part we are getting from this query, which is 12th. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, next we have the 90th question. So we are very close to our end. So write a SQL query to extract the day from date. So day from date, we need the day part from the date. Similarly, we are getting the year, month, we can get the date also. So copy this and move on to the SSMS, and we will check. So let's take, we have given one date like 2023, and then 5th month, and then 27 day. Okay, and we need that to extract the day part. Okay, so similarly we have an inbuilt function like day for extracting the day part. So we will apply that, select day, and this also required one argument. So day, and then the date part, the complete date as day part. So this will extract only the date from this particular given date, day from this particular given date. Okay, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. Select day from the date. Now execute this, and this will extract the 27, which is the day part. Okay, so this is clear how to find out year, month, and day from a given date. Okay, now move on to the next question. These are very important question, and people basically make mistakes in these questions, so you need to practice this question very much. Okay, so next we have the 91 question. So write a SQL query to convert a string to a date. Okay, so basically if a string is given in the format of date, then we can convert it into date. Okay, date data type. So let's take, we have given one string, uh, string we have given. So this will also come under the category of string, like 2025 05 or 02, and then 12th. So this will also come under the category of string currently. And now when we want to convert it into date, so how we will do this? So we can use the convert function only. So select convert, and then data type. So data type will be date. Data type will be date, and which string will need to be converted? So this string need to be converted to date. So convert date and this one. Now execute this, and here we are getting the, it is converted to date, and similarly we can convert it to date time also. So when we convert it to date time, we will get the value like this, date with time. Okay, so this is clear to everyone how to convert a string value into date. So if the string value is given in the format of date, then only it will be convertible to date. Otherwise, if we give the value like abcd, like provide copy this query, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this question. Now we will check some example, like if the string value is given like abcd, then it cannot be converted to date time. Okay, conversion fail when converting date or time for character string. Okay, so this cannot be possible. If the string is given in the format of date only, then only it will be convertible to the date or date time function, date or date time data type. Okay, now move on to the next question. This is clear to everyone. Now the next question will be 92nd question. So write a SQL query to find the number of employees in each department. Okay. So in each department, what is the number of employees in employee table? So first of all, do a select star on employees. Select star from employees, from employees, and then first execute this. Then we will check the number of department and then number of employees from the department. So execute this. So here you can see 13 records are there, and there are some 4 distinct departments: CS, IT, HR, payroll. So we can check, select distinct department from employees. So how many distinct departments are available currently? So currently 4 departments are available. So department wise, total number of employees we want in each department. So for that, what will be the final query? So for that, the final query will be select from employees. First we will mention the table name so that intelligence will work for us. So select what we need. So select, we need the department and then count of employees. So count, count employee id, emp id from employees table, and then we need department wise count. So group our record by group by group by department. Okay, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. Now execute this, and then you can see CS 4, HR 3. So here one alias we can also provide as employee count, emp count. Okay, now execute this. That is why no column name is coming, because we have not provided any alias to it. Execute this. So CS 4 employees, HR 3 employees, IT 3 employees, payroll 3 employees. Okay, so this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So 93rd question. Okay, so what it is telling, write a SQL query to find the total salary of each department. Total salary of each department. Okay, so currently we have checked total number of employees in each department. Now we need to find out total salary in each department. So for that, what we need to do, we need to find out the sum of salary for each department. Okay, so write a query to find out the total salary of each department. So for that, the final query will be like select department comma sum of salary as total salary from which table, from employees table we want. Yes, employees table, and then we need department wise total salary. So group our record by group by department, okay, and this will provide us the total salary department wise. Now execute this, and then here you can see CS has this much total salary, HR has this much total salary, IT has this much total salary, and similarly payroll has this much total salary. Okay, so for finding out total salary as per department, we need to write down this query, select department, and then we are doing the sum of all the salary for each department, grouping by the department. Okay, now this is clear. Move on to the next question. So next we have the 94th question, and these are very basic question, and then generally these questions are asked, okay, asked to everyone. So basically, even if you have you are fresher, or you have around 5 years of experience, 7 years of experience, 10 years of experience, you are getting these questions in interviews anyhow, because using these questions the interviewer will understand the how much in-depth knowledge you have on SQL, and how much basics you know about the SQL. Okay, so 94th question, Write a SQL query to find the average salary of each department. Average salary. Now previously we have find out total salary. Now we need to find out average salary each department. So this is also very basic question. Now comment this out. So for finding out the average salary per department, what we need to write? So the final query for this will be select department and then comma. Then we need the average salary avg average. For finding the average, we have the average function, and these aggregate functions also we have put a video on that. You can also go and check the video on aggregate functions also for a complete concept. Okay, so select department average salary otherwise salary from which table? From the employees table we want, from employees employees table, and then we want the average salary department wise. So group the record OUP, group by department. Okay, and this will provide us as average salary avg salary. This will provide us the average salary department wise. For each department, what will be the average salary? Now execute this, and then here you can see CS has this average salary, HR has this average salary, IT has this average salary, payroll has this average salary. Okay, so this is clear to everyone. Now move on to the next question. So next, what we have, the 95th question. We are very close to our end. So 95th question will be, write a SQL query to find the maximum salary for each department. So those who are watching this video till here, they can comment out and let us know if you are watching this part also or not. Okay, by that also we get some motivation to load more and more videos, and that is good thing. Okay, so write a SQL query to find the maximum salary of each department. So here, now we need to find out the maximum salary per department. What is the maximum salary per department? So for that, we will use the max function. So write a SQL query to find the maximum salary of each department. Okay, now move on and write the query for this. So the final query for this that you need to provide to the interviewer will be like, select select department comma, and then we need the maximum salary. So max of salary as maximum maximum salary. From which table we need? From employees table we need. So from employees, employees, and then we need the maximum salary department wise. So group by department. So you can see from here like how much there is the use of group by clause and all. Okay, so group or record by department. So this will provide us the maximum salary each department wise. Now execute this, and we will find the answer. So CS has 80,000 as the maximum salary, HR has 1 lakh, IT has 56,000, payroll has 93,000. Okay, so this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for maximum salary department wise. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next we have the 96th question. Okay, and we are very close to the end. So what 96th question is telling? Write a SQL query to find the minimum salary of each department. Okay, so previously we have found out the maximum salary of each department. Now we need to find out the minimum salary of each department. So this is also very similar, simple and basic question. Now comment this out. So to find the minimum salary, the final query will be like, select and then department and then so comma, then we need the minimum salary. So mean function we will use, mean of salary as minimum salary from which table? From employees table, and we need the record by department wise. So group our record, group by group group by department and this query will provide us the minimum salary each department wise. Okay, Now execute this, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. So you can see CS has 25,000, HR has 79,000, IT has 35,000, and similarly payroll has 43,000 as the minimum salary. Okay. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have? We have the 97th question. So write a SQL query to find the department with the highest number of employees. So here we need to find out the department which has the maximum number of employees. Okay. So now we will check how to write the query for this. So for finding out the highest number of employees in a department, we need to write like select top one, because only single record we want. Top one star from top one, sorry, not star, top one department, PART department, top one department, and then comma, we need the count of employees, count of employee ID, EMP ID from employees table, and then select top one department, count of employees as number of employees, EMPLOYEES, as number of employees, sorry, as number of EMP, as number of employees from employee table, and then we need to have order 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 by count employee ID descending. Okay, so maximum which has the highest number of employees, so order by DSC. And then here we need to group our record by department also, because we need the record department wise. So group by department. So if you do part by part of each question, then you can find out the solution very easily. Okay, so here what we are doing, we need a single record, means a highest number of employees, that department which has highest number of employees. So for that we have done select top one department, and count of employees we are getting. So department wise count we are getting, so group by department, and then we need the highest, so order by count employee ID descending. And this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. Now execute this and find out the result set. So CS has maximum number of employees, which is 4. Okay, so this is clear, and this is very good question, and means mostly asked question. Okay, so don't confuse in this. We are doing only simple calculation, like we are finding the top one department, count of employees from employee table, grouping by department, and then ordering by count employee ID as descending. Okay, so this is clear. Now move on to the next question. So next what we have? So next we have the 98th question. Okay, so what it is telling? So write a SQL query to find the department with highest total salary. So here we need to find out the department which has the highest total salary. So for that, this will be, the query will be a bit similar, but here we need to find out the sum of salary. Okay, so now write the query for this. So select top one, because the highest salary only we want, top one department, comma, sum of salary as our sum of salary as total salary. Okay, from which table we want? From employees table, from EMPLOYES, from employees table. And then we want the salary department wise, means total salary we want department wise. So group by department, and DPART, group by department, and then we need the highest total salary. So order the record, order by sum of salary in descending order. So similarly, if we want the minimum salary, the department has the lowest total salary, then we will order our record by ascending. But here we want the total salary, highest total salary, so we need to order our record by descending order. Okay, so order by some salary descending. Now execute this, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. Execute this. So HR has the highest total salary, which is 22,76,000. Okay, now move on to the next question. So this is the second last question, which is 99th question. So write a SQL query to find the employee who earn more than average salary. Okay, so basically here the concept of sub query will also come. So basically the interviewer want to check each and every thing from you, like how much you know about SQL. So here, to find out the employee who earn more than the average salary, we need to use the sub query. So how to write the query for this? So select we can select the employee name, select from employees. First we write the table name so that intelligence will work for us. Select from employees, and what we need to select, we need to select the employee name, emp name we need, and then salary we need. These will work for us. Then employee, select employee name, salary from employees table, where salary in, then the sub query part will come. So salary in, select average salary, avg salary from, select average salary from employees table, employees employees table. Okay, so we need to find out salary in, not salary. We need to find out those employees who have salary greater than, who earn more than the average salary. So we need to find out where salary is greater than, select average salary from employee. Okay, very simple query. So we are selecting the employee name and salary from employees table and finding out where the salary is greater than average salary from the employees table. Select average salary from the employees table, and this query will provide us the average salary in the employee table. So here you can see 65,165. So any employees having salary greater than this will come under this category. Now execute this, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer. So you, here you can see 7 employees have greater salary than the average salary. Okay, now move on to the next question. So next what we have, the last question, which is the 100th question. And if you are standing till here, then make sure that you are going to crack a SQL interview very soon in the coming days, and you will achieve your dream job very soon. Okay, now copy this and then try to resolve this. So we will we will read the query here only. So this is a very important query. Okay, so write a SQL query to find the employees who earn the highest salary in each department. Okay, so basically here we need the sub query concept also, and here we need to find out those employees who have the highest salary in each department. So employee name also you want. So how to write the query for this? So basically here what we want, here we want select, so select, so write down the final query for this. So we need the what are the things we need? We need employee name, emp name, comma, we need the department department, and we need the salary. So salary, salary. And from where we need from the employees table. Okay, so from employees table, employees. So make this query little bit fresh so that it will be readable to you, because this is a very important query and these questions are mostly asked. Okay, so department and salary from employees table, and then the sub query part will come, where salary in, and then here we will write select max salary, select max salary from employees table, and then group by department. Okay, and this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. So what we are doing here, so we are selecting employee name, department, salary from employees table, and we are checking for where the salary is in. Select maximum salary from employees table, group by department. So this sub query will provide us the maximum salary department wise. When you execute this, so it is returning department wise salary, and then here we are checking if the salary is available in this particular maximum salary or not. Now execute this, and then this is the final query that you need to provide to the interviewer for this particular question. So here you can see Richard in IT is getting maximum salary, Asha in HR is getting maximum salary, Albert in payroll is getting maximum salary, and Isaac in CS is getting maximum salary. Okay, so this is the end of top 100 questions. Thank you for watching. And if you need the data sets and the table structure and create table statement, insert table statement and all, so you can join our Telegram channel from this particular link also. You can scan here, and you will also get the link in our description, and in our channel description also you will find out the link. And do like, share and subscribe to our channel if you like the videos, and many more videos are on the way, interview questions and SQL major concepts and all. And as we have discussed previously in our videos, like we are going to start a master series on SQL Server, where we are going to cover each concept of SQL from zero to advanced level. So for that, once we achieve the subscriber of 500 count, so that means more and more people will be available for that particular playlist. So then we are going to launch that particular series. Okay, so be there and do like and share and subscribe. And thank you for watching. Thank you everyone. Thank you.